Dear ladies and gentlemen, welcome again to the analysis of YOLENO TV. I'm glad you're well from wherever you're watching this channel. This debate of who could have had intentions of arresting Matiangi is still becoming a puzzle, with the DCI, with the DPP, with the police, even the government, all of them denouncing to have made that move. So nobody knows who tried to arrest Dr. Fred Matiangi. So this is becoming very, very shocking to most Kenyans, and the puzzle continues. I didn't want to talk about this because I already made some analysis yesterday regarding that siege at Dr. Matiangi's residence. But there's something, I went through some of those archives and looked at some of the remarks that Matiangi used to make regarding William Samoei Ruto when he was the CS for internal security, the affairs security. So we remember that time that Matiangi used to tell William Ruto right on his face about the things that he felt, and he never used to lie about anything. So I stumbled upon a video, and this video, if I look at the remarks in that video.
After the COVID-19 pandemic, now the new pandemic we're dealing with is the pandemic of lies. Yeah. People stand up and they say things that they think make sense. You know, I've been looking at politicians, and fortunately I have the opportunity of having served in cabinet. I know how a budget is drawn, and I know how much money we have in our resources to draw a budget. When a political leader, a national leader tells people, I will put aside 150 billion for market women, I'll put aside 50 billion for boda boda, I'll put aside 100 billion for this. I know how much our budget is and the projected growth of our budget. That time you have not talked about the amount of money that you are taking to counties, you have not talked about transfers for the education sector and so on. Where are you going to get that money to provide that kind of service? You're just lying to those people because you are telling them things they want to hear. And because they won't ask you questions, you just get along with it. You know, when you keep saying there's deep state, who is that? And the people are using that phrase and complaining are members of the National Security Council. They hold public offices. They tell you they are powerful people. So who is that? You know, this facade and stories that are being coined and being bandied around to create campaign jargon. You know, this story of you must look for a way of creating some level of sympathy so that people can sympathize with you, that you are an underdog. So you create some phantom, some fictitious devils that are existent somewhere that are against you. And these devils are not described. So you use some communist type language and call them deep state. And say, you know, these people, they may be having the state, but we have God. God is for all of us. You can't have God yourself.
Something tells me that this could have been the reason why the government is relentless in making sure that they put Matiangi to task about those remarks. But again, I look at our constitution and I realize that our constitution gives us mandate to do that. Because back then, when Matiangi was making these remarks about the current president back then, who was a deputy president, was making similar remarks on Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta's regime. So, if the deputy president back then was denouncing some of those Uhuru projects, then why is it becoming such a big deal if Matiangi also made some similar remarks? I looked at that interview from of the DPP.
CS Matiangi's claims turned out not to be true. What action could you take
against him? In fact, I have looked at his application in court, and he has alleged that me and the president met on the sideline to plan in Mombasa when we had the African Prosecutors Association, to plan against him. That in itself is a perjury, and I will take him to task. I will take that affidavit to task because it's unacceptable. Let him table that evidence that we did that. And we had several attorney generals from all over Africa on the sidelines, and I have evidence that nothing like that happened. And I take great exception that people are still continuing to commit perjury.
When the DPP was saying that they are not aware, and he is not aware about that purported arrest because he has not made any move regarding any arrest. Earlier on, there have been talks that probably the DPP is compromised when those cases were dropped. All the cases that were about some of the CS in this RUTO regime, these cases were dropped. So Kenyans have been uncomfortable with DPP's moves. So when I listened to that interview by the DPP, there is something he mentioned. He talked about Arwaraka land. I mean, of course, there have been allegations previously about Arwaraka land saga. I will get details about that saga, but when I looked at that, and then it's like he said, once we have concluded, we will make certain arrests. So now, if Arwaraka land is linked to Matiangi, and then the DPP is saying that he will make some certain arrests, so that in itself means that the DPP could be focusing on finding a way of nailing Matiangi or probably arresting Matiangi. So that is why I tend to look at the incidents that led to Danstan, Omari and Raila Odinga and the battle of those lawyers going to Matiangi's residence. I look at the whole thing and maybe there is something. I tend to think that something is not, the organs, the DCI, the DPP and the presidency, they're not telling us something, but there is something that is being cooked. And this something will probably lead to Matiangi's arrest. I foresee a scenario where now they will have to apprehend him. I mean, it could be that the cases will be cooked or the cases will be legit. We don't know, but there is something that is going to happen. And this is not good for the country. This regime said when they came to power that they will give people freedom. I mean, it's not going to be like Moi's era, whereby those night arrests used to happen. That is not going to be like, I remember during inauguration, our dear Deputy President Gachagua told us something. He said that from now henceforth, Musiogope, don't have to use WhatsApp to call your colleague, because the days of torture, the days of kutafutana are over. So what is happening? What happened to that Bunge la Wananchi ghetto president Gaucho? What happened to that? What happens to the remarks of Babu Owino when Babu Owino said that he has been getting calls about his arrest? I tend to think that this Kenya Kwanza government is not doing us justice, because if it said that Mukuna writer could criticize, then if the people are criticizing them, then why are they initiating arrests? I mean, this is not something that should be done. The people of the Republic of Kenya should be left alone to criticize this government. If the government is doing anything wrong, I think it's right for them to criticize, because they are paying taxes, and because they are paying taxes, it is their duty to criticize this government. So, ladies and gentlemen, I shared a video. That video, I suspect that that video could be the reason why Matiangi is facing this ooze. That could be the reason why, ladies and gentlemen. Kindly share your opinions below in the comment section there. What do you think about this saga, the whole saga of Matiangi's arrest? Do you think that the DPP is telling the truth? I tend to think there is some, katika ile statement yake kuna venye amejaribu kuchanganya vitu pale. Let's wait for what will unfold, ladies and gentlemen. But until we meet again for another analysis, please stay safe and stay blessed.